let's say it's $20,000. A poor person just hearing the price would say, that's expensive. But if I said, a rich person, if I said, hey, my thing is $20,000, they wouldn't then say that's expensive. They would say, for what? And if I said, Class A share of Berkshire Hathaway, which is an $800,000 stock for $20,000, that would be the deal of the century, right? If I said it was $20,000 for a brand new Lamborghini, they would say that's a great deal. So even though it costs a lot of money, it's great value. And this is what I did. I struggled for such a long time to understand, because it was like, I almost had this emotional reaction to zeros. It's like, if I saw zeros, I was like, oh my God, it's so much, right? And so I know where you're coming from, because you almost choke on the price. So I'll give you a couple little tactics for this to like get around it. So one is, if you're in person, you can write down the price and then turn it and slide it to them. Or you can use a calculator and turn it to them if you like literally choke on the price, because some people do that. The second thing that you can do, and this is a really good little pricing hack for selling, is before you say the price, you say, hey, before I tell you the price, it's super expensive. And so what's beautiful about telling someone it's expensive before you tell them the price is that if someone's rich, they're going to immediately think what's expensive for them. And so they're going to think a number, and then you're going to say the number, and they're going to literally be like, oh, fine. If they're poor and you say it's expensive, they're going to brace themselves for a number that's big. And then when you give them that number, they were at least braced for it. And so in either way, you actually create what I would consider an emotional anchor that's perfectly accommodating to the buying power of the prospect. And most salespeople get choked up right at that point. So it's like, give yourself a breather. It's going to be expensive. You take a breath, they take a breath, then you deliver, right? So it's just a little tactic that works and also can help increase sales. So a good way to know if you're actually underpriced is to actually look at your close rates, all right? And so if your close rates are 80%, or let's say 60 to 80, I'll put this in tiers for you. 50 to 60, 40 to 50, and then 30 to 40, and then 30. Okay, so let's say these are your close rates. So that means if you talk to 10 people, here you close 8, right? If you're closing 80%, you probably right now have a 2 to 3x in pricing, a 3 to 4x in pricing, excuse me. A 3 to 4x in pricing just sitting there. I know that sounds absurd, but think about it. You're going to get, the 80% are not going to say yes anymore. I want to be very clear. You might drop to like 35%. But if 35% of people are paying 4 times more, you're making 120% of the revenue that you were making before. All right. And so like you were making way more money. Now, at 60 to 80, you probably have a 2 to 3x that you have sitting there in price. If you're between 50 and 60, you probably have a 1.5x to 2x sitting there. If you're at 40 to 50%, you're probably at 1.25 to 1.5x. All right. If you're here, I consider this to be appropriately priced. If you're closing 30 to 40%, you're priced about right. If you're below 30, I would say get better at selling. Which part of getting better at selling can be make the offer better or talk to better customers. All right. And so sometimes you will try and pitch a high ticket thing, but not have your core offer, which might be lower. So you have an anchor offer. But the people that you're speaking with, you didn't qualify them. So if I want to say, hey, I'm talking to $1 million plus business owners, I will have a significantly higher close rate if I'm only talking to them. So all of what I described is something called lead scoring or lead qualification. And so what that means is that there's a certain type of customer that's more likely to buy your thing, right? Somebody who has more money is more likely to buy your more expensive thing. And so if we know that the people who have the money are the ones that buy our expensive thing, then we should try and just tell the world, we only cater to these people. Now, the next thing that will come up is people will say, hey, I would sell for a really expensive thing, but no one will buy it because there's guys down the street who will sell it for less because they're brokies selling to brokies. You're right. And that's because you can't sell the same thing. You got to sell something different, which is why I wrote my first book on this, which is the first chapter is you're selling a commodity. You're selling something that someone could reasonably hold your thing and their thing up and say, these two things are the same. So I'll pick the cheaper one. And that's reasonable for them to do it. The idea is that we want to price our things so high and be in such a clearly different category that people say these two things must be different. I have to analyze these independently. And so within the context of what do I get for my money, the rich person wants 3 things. They want it to be fast, they want it to be easy,